Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and I hate to say it, but I think this video is the one I am going to be most excited about every week. I'm going to put out a video every single day for NFL season. I know I've already said that. I hope you guys are coming back day after day to watch these, but this is the one that I feel good about, the one I'm most excited for. So let's talk about my touchdown picks for week one. Before we do that, I'm going to talk about what I plan to do this year, not only for myself, but I'm going to compile this data for you. Every single game, I'm going to track the offensive touchdowns, who allowed it on defense, the quarter it happened, was it the first touchdown or not, the type it was as in pass or run or special teams, the position that scored, the yards that it was that scored, and the player. All of this data is going to be compiled into this massive spreadsheet that, again, I will share with you guys every week so you can see which team is giving up the most passing touchdowns, which team is giving up the most first rushing touchdowns, which team is allowing the longest touchdowns. All of this data is going to be tracked by me and given to you every single week, and I'll expand this. I know this is pretty hard to see right now, but I will make sure you guys have all the data every single week. Now, the problem is it's week one, which means we don't have any data right now. So we are going to be making picks for a few weeks, just totally off the cusp, just places that I think there is value and value early when some players are maybe undecided or unestablished and the books aren't accounting for it. So that is what today is going to be. And here's what you can expect week to week. Every week, I'm going to give out picks at 3 tiers. All right. We have a tier 1 tier, and these are going to be more of the safe plays, guys who are more expected to score within this odds range, sort of a tier 2, a middle ground, and then a tier 3 or long shot plays. After this week, I'm going to give out some first TD picks. I did not include that in this video, but again, I will include that in weeks going forward. I really wanted to, honestly, I forgot. I was too excited and I forgot I was going to include it. Forgive me, okay? Obviously, what I would encourage you to do is use the value from promos to increase these odds even more. I'm going to try to find value for you just in the line itself, but if you can do anything to add extra value by playing these picks in terms of pairing it with promos, that is going to be the best thing you can do. I'm going to track any pick that I put on this. I'm going to track and I'm going to share that with you. All right. I'm not going to play everything. I want you guys to hear me loud and clear. I'm going to give you a fair amount of picks, and I personally am not going to be putting the units that I suggest on them. This is just for me to track and be hypothetical and see where we were. Okay. So I know a lot of, I understand why that's not necessarily best practice, and a lot of people want to only play the picks that the handicapper is actually putting money on themselves, but I'm being very honest with you guys. I will get to these picks in terms of the promos that are given to me. All right. I'm not just going to blindly bet all of these. So here are 2 promos on DraftKings right now. If you don't have DraftKings, you can use the link down in the description. It's a bet stamp link. You can sign up for it with my link. I get paid a little bit, but that's not through DraftKings, so I don't have any ties with DraftKings, but they do have no sweat tokens for touchdown scores for today, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. All right. So make sure you use those. You get your bet back if you don't hit. So that's pretty cool. They also have the most degenerate thing I've ever seen. Stepped up touchdown scorer parlay. Every time you add a new touchdown scorer, you get 10% more on the profit boost. I don't know what I'm going to do with that because, again, that is absolutely degenerate, and I do not feel comfortable betting 10 guys to score a touchdown. I will probably keep it to 4 or 5 and just have some fun with it, but understand it is very negative EV. Here are the totals for the week. If you are someone who wants to play only touchdown scores in games that have a high expected total, I've gone ahead and marked those out for you. Philly, Green Bay, Arizona, Buffalo, Detroit, LA, Houston, Indy, and Jacksonville, Miami are the highest scoring games in the projections. Of course, you can say that Vegas already accounts for this, and the odds are built in to the touchdown scores. They're going to be reduced because they expect more points, yada, yada. I get that, but I still think this is important information to at least have in the back of your mind. Let's start, baby. Here we are. Tier 1, our safer plays. We'll start with Anthony Richardson. This is found on DraftKings. That had the best odds. I'm going to provide you with the best odds on this every single time and tell you the book it's from, but make sure you shop around. You may have other books that I don't. Anthony Richardson only played 4 games last year. He scored a rushing touchdown in every single one, including against Houston. I think a lot of attention will be on Jonathan Taylor. It may open up some opportunities for Richardson, so I like him at plus money. Zach Moss, I was pretty shocked to see him at plus 150. Now, this is on BetMGM, so I would not be able to get down a full unit on BetMGM touchdown score. You may be able to. 150 is a pretty darn good price for a game that I think the Bengals should dominate. They should have a lot of opportunities in the red zone. We know what they did with Mixon last year. Moss can not only run, but he can catch passes. A lot of the emphasis for their defense is probably going to be on the receivers of the Bengals, so I think this is a good price at plus 150. Lastly, Jalen Waddle at plus 175. This game is expected to be high scoring. Tyreek Hill is going to draw a lot of coverage, so we'll look at the second guy, Jalen Waddle, and I think plus 175, again, is a good price for him. Moving on to the tier 2 plays, or the kind of middle ground half unit plays. I know this is a lot. I'll walk through them quickly. Luke Musgrave did not score too many last year for the Packers, but I think they've brought him along a little bit. This is on ESPN Bet. I don't care that you failed to load the extension. Leave me alone. So at plus 360, I like that number. I think Diggs, Dell, or Collins scores this week. They have to, right? High scoring expected game for the game in Indy. And I think they try to get Diggs early, so I like him at plus 210. Michael Wilson is the second in command for the Cardinals. Another game that's expected to be high scoring. I expect the Cardinals to be trailing, potentially by a fair margin. And so that usually encourages teams to pass. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to get a lot of attention from the defense, so let's look at Michael Wilson, a guy who was establishing some chemistry with Kyler Murray at the end of last year. DeAndre Hopkins' line, I just believe, is too much. He is injured. This is on BetMGM. You can get him for plus 240. I know they have other weapons, Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd this year. I think Will Levis will be more comfortable this year, and Hopkins is the best option. So in a game that they are 4-point underdogs and you expect them to, again, be passing a lot, I like him at that number. Deontay Johnson shocked me that he was plus 350. Again, we fit that game script of a team trailing, having to pass. We know Dave Canales, the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers, likes to throw the ball. I think he is going to bring Bryce Young up to a level that people expected when he was drafted. I think he will be a great fit for Bryce Young and this offense. This is a wide receiver 1 in Deontay Johnson. This is a guy that, we saw have success in Pittsburgh. Now he comes to Carolina and he works with Dave Canales, who, did wonderful things with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both. So really like him at that number. Part of this is just 350. You play this game 3 times, I think he's scoring. And if he scores 1 out of every 3 times this game is played, you make money. Kyle Pitts, simply put, we saw what Kirk Cousins did with TJ Hawkinson in Minnesota. So let's kind of, pick that up and set it down in Atlanta. And I think Kyle Pitts at plus 210 is a good price for him. Lastly, we have Jameson Williams on the Sunday night game for Detroit. A high-scoring game, should be a shootout. Amon-Ra St. Brown should get a lot of coverage, so let's go with Jameson Williams at plus 250 for a half unit. These are all my half-unit plays. Again, guys, I'm not going to blindly bet a half unit on these. I'm going to track them as if I am, but I will probably look to these guys for different promos throughout the weekend that pop up, okay? Finally, my tier 3 plays, my long shot plays, my quarter unit plays. Hollywood Brown is not going to see the field tonight. He's injured. Obviously, they have Xavier Worthy, the rookie wide receiver, and they have Travis Kelce. But outside of Rashee Rice, the depth chart is a little bit shaky. We don't know who is going to step up and be another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. And I think these 2 prices are far, far, far too long for the uncertainty. I guess I don't trust Xavier Worthy to just step in and be, Patrick Mahomes' second choice or third choice. I think Juju, a guy who comes back to this team, already been there, already familiar with it, could see, sort of that wide receiver 3 role, maybe even wide receiver 2 role. And Sky Moore, very inconsistent, but at 10-1, I like him. So again, not something I would jump to just throw your bankroll at tonight, but something that I think is worth a sprinkle. Trey Tucker for the Raiders. At 850, again, I think is too much. This is a guy we saw in preseason having a lot of success. He's a quick guy. He's going to get a lot of downfield action, especially when safeties are going to probably have their eye on Devontae Adams. I not only like Trey Tucker to score this weekend, I think you're going to get value on his yards early in this season. And I mean, mark down what his odds are right now. I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin the comment down here. By the end of the year, I think you see this, increase by probably 30% for each game. So I just think that you can get value early on this guy, and I will probably actually play this 4.25 units, and probably will continue to play this until he scores. I know that that's not necessarily the most sound way to do it, but if you're giving me that number, he just has to score before week 8 for me to make my money back, and I think that's a true possibility. Okay, finally, last play of the week is Noah Fant. Seattle is going to throw the ball more this year, is what I'm told. All right, I think that any of the guys in the passing game are good picks for today, for this weekend. I do think Patrick Surtain is going to be shadowing DK Metcalf, so I wouldn't go with him, but I think Jackson Smith-Njigba and Tyler Lockett are decent plays. They were in the mid 200s when I checked, but I think Noah Fant, he finally doesn't have some of the other guys, tight ends, breathing down his neck that he's had in the past. He should be the clear number 1 guy, and I like him at plus 450. So those are all the picks I have for you today. First touchdown scorers are not included. I apologize, but I will start accounting for that next week when we have a little bit more data. Again, I posted all my picks for spreads and totals yesterday. You can check that out here. I also posted, my preseason rankings. You can check that out here. Tomorrow, I will be dropping my underdog picks of the week for college and NFL, and then we'll sit back and enjoy the weekend and hit it hard on Monday. So thank you guys for coming by. Remember, I am not charging for this. So if you don't mind liking, commenting, and sharing this with your DGen buddies who you think should make smarter decisions with their money, please do that. I love you all, and we will see you tomorrow.